Finally, Father's Day!
It's Father's Day, Materia.
What?
That's why God made fathers, babe. That's why God made fathers.
Hey there, hi there, ho there, Andrew here. And it is Father's Day, so let's celebrate all things dad with a Top Fathers of Horror Protagonist Edition. And if you haven't seen the Top Mothers in Horror Protagonist and Antagonist Edition, go ahead, click the link above. Now, let's get on to the countdown. Oh, what am I, Casey Kasem? And we start with number 5, George Lutz from the Amityville Horror. The Amityville Horror is based off a true story, and it is one of the first movies that actually claimed that before it got overused. It was a book which was made into a movie in 1979 and then remade in 2005. Father and husband George Lutz, played by James Brolin in the 1979 movie, moved into a new house with his family, and yes, everybody already knew that there was a man that shot and killed 6 members of his family in that house. So yeah, buyer beware on this. The book goes ahead and accounts in more detail of what happens to George and what happens to the family, all because the house was built atop of an Indian burial ground. Yeah, an Indian burial ground. You're going to hear that theme a decent amount in family possession movies. And even though George does get possessed and takes up the handy hobby of chopping firewood with his axe, he does what's right for his family, and therefore scores number 5 on the list. The next is number 4, Josh Lambert from the Insidious franchise. I would have liked to put Josh higher on this list, but he didn't do much in the second film. I mean, his body did, but not really him. Josh is played by Patrick Wilson and is the husband and father of the Lambert family, and there can be some similarities between him and other fathers in horror, like Steve Freeling of Poltergeist, which also had an Indian burial ground in it. But what puts Josh on this list is 1, he is the first dad to have the good senses to move out of a house that he believes to be haunted. You know, before the fecal matter hits the oscillating ventilator. And 2, willing to do whatever it takes to get your son back from some ghostly dimensions that live in the further. Josh's backstory is expanded upon the second movie, Insidious 2, and makes him even more intriguing. Something about spirits in other dimensions traveling between timelines affecting Josh at 2 separate times in his life is quite refreshing when it comes to horror. And I can honestly say, Josh isn't the strongest spirit to go out there toe-to-toe with, but somehow he always ends up a winner. Number 3, Louis Creed from the Pet Sematary book and movie. Louis is portrayed by Dale Midkiff, and I have to say, though, the person that steals the movie is Fred Gwynn as Judd Crandall. Louis is the main protagonist, where we find that he was a pet doctor and moved to a small town. And even though this is Stephen King, I'm not sure if this is Castle Rock as a town, but I'm sure we're in Maine for some reason. At any rate, Lewis's youngest child, infant son Gage, gets hit by a semi, and Lewis finds out later from Judd that things that get buried in the Indian burial ground, Indian burial ground, within the woods often come back. They just don't come back the way they used to, thanks to the Wendigo that desecrated the grounds. The movie kind of has an open ending, and your interpretation might differ from somebody else that's in the audience, and I kind of like that. But I have to say, not too many men out there have the strength to go ahead and bring their child back from the grave and then have to deal with the consequences. And number 2 is Sam Bowden from Cape Fear. Sam Bowden is the hero and the main protagonist in the novel The Executioners and the film adaptation in 1962 called Cape Fear, as well as the 1991 remake. In the 62 movie, he is played by Gregory Peck, and Nick Nolte plays him in the 91 remake. Now, I called Sam a hero in the beginning because a hero is only defined by the villain, and let me tell you, the villain in this story is a doozy. I mean, the bad guy's name is Max Cady, and he's played by Robert Mitchum in the 1962 film, and he's played by Robert De Niro in the 91 film. And I won't go into the villain so much because we're talking about heroic dads in horror. The movies do differ in backstory, and there is a little difference between what Sam does to protect his family from Cady. The question becomes, what would you do if somebody was stalking and threatening your family, plus killed your dog? Killed your dog? That's just wrong. Well, Sam resorts to private detectives to track Cady, hires thugs to beat Cady up, and even tries to trick Cady into breaking into his dwelling so he can kill him self-defense. Both movies are really good, but I have to say the ending with Nick Nolte as Sam Bowden, It's just a little bit more satisfying. And the top father taking the #1 spot for horror protagonist is Robert Thorn from The Omen. Robert Thorn is played by Gregory Peck in the 1976 classic and Liev Schreiber in the 2006 remake. You know, I almost feel guilty placing two character picks who happen to be portrayed by Gregory Peck on top. But that's really just a testament to how good of an actor Gregory Peck is. I mean, I'm not knocking Liev Schreiber. I hope I'm getting that name right. I just like the older version of The Omen better. Robert Thorn is the adopted father of Damien Thorn when Robert's wife Kathy has a stillborn child. I might have a soft spot for adopted dads, so hey, my list might be a little skewed. Either way, as the years go on, with Robert being Damien's father, Robert finally questions what is wrong with his child. And here's a spoiler. He's evil! I mean, apparently Damien was born in the 6th hour of the 6th day of the 6th month. So what does that mean? He's a Gemini. I'm a Gemini. I was born in the 6th hour of the 6th month. But I was born on the 1st. And it was actually 6 in the evening. So that would make that the 18th hour, not the 6th, right? So I'm safe then. I mean, unless the 1 represents the missing 6, because if you take the other 2 6s from the 18, then that means there's a 6 remaining. Man, I gotta stop listening to Coast AM. These paranormal and conspiracy theories things are making my head dizzy. Where was I? Oh yeah, Robert Thorn is on the top of my list because he realizes that he must take out the devil himself, which just happens to be the boy that he's raising. I mean, talk about pressure. Something about sacrificing your only son to benefit mankind. Yeah, I do dig that story. I personally would have changed up the ending just a little bit, a few tweaks here and there, but Robert Thorn is still a good character in a good movie. So, the question is, who do you think should be on the Ultimate Protagonist Fathers of Horror? Did it make the list? If not, leave a comment down below and start the conversation. And remember, like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I will see you in the next video.